This is not a snappy hook. This video is very important and I need you to watch it and I need you to stick around to the end because this is about a former employee of ours. And I need to make sure you understand the person who has entered into this industry. So I believe at this point I have created enough integrity. I have demonstrated my thoughtfulness to this work. I have shown camaraderie and collaboration with other coaches. I've showed my ethics, I've showed my morals to the art and practice of trans voice. And I'm sure I have my shortcomings, and I hope to correct them in the future. So now let's take this back to the office where we can be less emotional and more thoughtful in the delivery of this message. A former employee of ours, Jimmy Chen. You may have seen them recently online demonstrating techniques and marketing himself as a trans voice expert. Now, this will not be easy to talk about. In fact, I spent months on this video. It is necessary to protect the community and the integrity of this work. So Seattle Voice Lab is a training school. What we do is we hire coaches who show vocal promise and we invest deeply in their vocal education to help them become great teachers for you. Jimmy was exactly that, a young but skilled singer with zero background in gender affirming voice. He joined us having never worked with a trans voice before. We trained him. We shadowed lessons. He received internal materials and instruction, the same curriculum that took me 10 years to develop. Despite that training, throughout his time with us, we experienced manipulative behavior, resistance to feedback, and dishonesty regarding student interactions. After 8 months, we made the decision to terminate him for manipulative teaching practices and dishonesty towards our students. Within 3 months of his termination, Jimmy downloaded internal materials and client lists, registered the domain transvoice-lab.com, a name that Seattle Voice Lab has owned and held for years, publicly marketed our curriculum as his through a self-published book attempting to imitate our method, claimed he could certify people in trans voice despite having less than a year of experience. Now, let me be clear. I have no issue with someone leaving SVL and building their own practice ethically. Many do, and we celebrate that. In fact, please go check out any of these other companies if you want wonderful instruction. Most are members of the trans community themselves, and a few are former instructors of Seattle Voice Lab. What I do have a problem with is stealing proprietary curricula and intellectual property, misrepresenting expertise to vulnerable people, claiming certification authorities without any expertise, using our community spaces to undermine us while simultaneously using our methods, exploiting client trust to sell his services privately, and using our protected research and language without understanding the rationale behind it. And yes, I have read his book. I recognize my own concepts in it. It contains elementary, surface-level interpretations of our curriculum, numerous inaccuracies, contradictions, and typos because it is not original research. It is an unvetted imitation lacking the depth, ethics, and nuance required to do this work well. We have firsthand accounts from his students, emotional manipulation, saying things like you're not progressing to create some type of urgency, making students cry in lessons, pressure to purchase private lessons in secret using our curriculum, the same curriculum that we use. So tell me, Jimmy, how do you both simultaneously claim that you are the best when you at the same time saying you are using our curriculum? There are clear boundary violations, including inappropriate personal questions. There is zero progress and lost money, leading to students to publicly call it a scam. So this is not innovation. This is not a critique or disagreement on Seattle Voice Lab's method. This is just clear plagiarism and exploitation of trans people seeking life-changing help.
So I founded my own company. And the reason why I branched into my own is because there are a lot of vocal misinformation out there. And the technique that I was taught was just there are just so many things that are wrong with it.
Because otherwise, when you're just like, change your pitch, your inflection, your vocal weight, you're what? What? Who?
I know, yeah. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, vocal weight, another misinformation. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
So the very dangerous thing of the terminology vocal weight is that it misleads people to think that something is becoming thicker and heavier and like, "Ugh." So that's why the terminology vocal weight, like, doesn't work.
Now, let me clarify. We work with people who are oftentimes untrained vocalists. Many of our students have never, ever used their voice consciously before. Breath flow and airflow coordination create agility, safety, and sustainable, healthy practice for beginners. Professional vocalists are not our baseline. Trans people learning a new voice out of necessity, for identity, for safety, and self-expression are. Now, there's a level of nuance here that comes only through years of experience, clinical collaboration, research, and lived work with over 350 students a week on average. That expertise cannot be compressed into 8 months and a self-published book.
And then I stumble upon this job post, and it's a gender-affirming vocal coach position. So that's kind of how I got started. I actually didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't know it was possible.
Now, Jimmy, to you directly. Your dishonesty towards our students was disappointing. Your download of our intellectual and intangible property was frustrating. But when you decide to publish a book and try your hand at a certification after only 8 months of study at SVL, okay, that was too far. And now we're here. Welcome. So our field is largely unregulated. That means anyone can copy terminology, posture online as an expert, and cause harm, especially to marginalized people who are seeking safety and identity. So we at Seattle Voice Lab have been committed to stopping that for years. Seattle Voice Lab has developed university-level gender-affirming voice curricula. We have been approached by major institutions like Johns Hopkins, Penn State, University of Oregon, and others. We have provided ASHA-approved continuing education units. We have also provided a formal certification to protect students and raise standards in this industry. And we have built trust through 10 years of work, not shortcuts. So we welcome new practitioners. We welcome critique. We welcome innovation grounded in learning, ethics, and student safety. What we will not tolerate is deception, appropriation, and the exploitation of this community. Now, I did not want to make this video. In fact, for a long time, I was really hoping it wouldn't come to this. But as it's continued and more students are actively being harmed by this person, my silence is starting to become complicity. So we have pursued legal counsel, and we are considering appropriate legal action. And as we continue moving forward, we are formalizing industry standards, not to gatekeep, but to provide clarity over the training you will receive from the person that you have selected as your voice coach. We will continue remaining focused on protecting trans people, the people that we serve diligently. Thank you for trusting me and trusting Seattle Voice Lab with something as sacred as your instrument, as your voice. I don't take that responsibility lightly, and Seattle Voice Lab never will.